Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Nicole and I sell vintage home decor on Etsy. If you have been following along in my last couple of videos, then you might know that I just moved from my home state of Florida to North Carolina with my fiance and our dog. Hi puppy, hello. I don't think I've really shared the reason on here before as to why we moved. We just felt like our city was turning into a concrete jungle and we wanted to be surrounded by more trees, more nature, to be out in the woods. So we are up in the mountains. It is so beautiful here. We've been seeing deer outside of our house every single morning, and today we actually saw 3 black bears right outside of our house, which I have never seen a bear in the wild before, so that was incredible. We have some neighbors who have a dog, and I kept seeing something in my peripheral vision, and this dog sometimes roams around the property, so I thought that maybe the dog was outside, and I looked and there was a baby black bear cub right outside our front door. I saw it run around the side of the house, so I ran out onto our deck and I looked down and I saw 2 baby black bear cubs. I didn't see the mom, but I figured that she was probably nearby, and then they went underneath our deck. I ran inside and grabbed my fiance and we ran back out and then saw all 3 of them running away from the house, the mom and the 2 babies. I did manage to get a picture of the babies, and so I'll put that picture up on the screen. For any subscribers or viewers who live in the mountains, I'd love to know how often you see bears, because this was my first time seeing a bear in the wild. I knew that there were a lot of black bears here, but I didn't expect to see any bears so soon. The house that we're living on is on a couple acres of forested land, so I've been out there every morning walking Junebug, which has been really nice. I've never really talked about my dog before, but she is 4 years old and she's a rescue. She is mostly a pit. She's like 30% pit, and then she's also a mix of Catahoula, German Shepherd, Cocker Spaniel, and Chihuahua. So she's kind of a weird mix of things. We did a little DNA test on her shortly after we adopted her, and as you can probably tell, she is very sweet, very cuddly, but she is a reactive dog. She doesn't do well with other animals, other pets, other dogs. She's very sweet with people, but she can be nervous or wary around strangers, and she's very protective. So I have had this fear that I'm gonna see a bear when I'm with her, because I know that dogs can provoke bears. And typically I've been kind of going on a long walk down along the property, but this morning I just had this weird feeling that there might be a bear around, which was extremely random because I didn't even know if we would see bears in our area. We're still in somewhat of a neighborhood, and so I came back from the walk a little bit early, and then 30 minutes later I saw those bears. So that was kind of wild. But yes, if you live in bear country, I would love to know about your experiences with bears. I'm not particularly afraid of black bears because I know they're very timid, but I am nervous with my dog and how she would react if we saw one on a walk. So if anyone has any tips or experiences with bears and having a reactive dog, I would love to hear any comments that you have. But anyway, moving along into the topic of today's video, I put a poll out on my YouTube asking if you all wanted to see some thrifting, vlogging content about thrifting in North Carolina for the first time, or if you wanted to see antique booth tips, and the thrifting content won. So I went out yesterday with my camera to do a bit of thrifting. It was pretty much my first time going out thrifting since I've been here. We've been here for about 2 weeks now, and after I had already driven like 30 to 40 minutes away from my house, I realized I had left my SD card at home, so I couldn't film any content. I did get some really awesome stuff from the thrift stores, but unfortunately since I didn't have my camera, I wasn't able to film any of it. So I'm gonna give you a thrift haul, and then hopefully very soon in the future I can actually film some of the antique malls and thrift stores in the area. Right off the bat, something I've noticed about the thrifting here, to start, I moved from a big city south of Tampa. She's just gonna be weird while I'm talking. Okay, relax. Okay. Just a little bit of background. I moved from a pretty big city south of Tampa, and the thrifting there was amazing. There's a lot of older people in the area, obviously being in Florida, and so I feel like a lot of antiques and the possessions of these older people ended up in the thrift store. Most of the sourcing that I did back in Florida was at the thrift store. I'd say probably 95% of the items I was selling in my shop were from thrift stores. I also went to estate sales and antique malls, but the thrift stores always always had good stuff, and so I found it to be generally more cost effective and convenient to just go thrifting. Okay, my dog is being yeah, okay. The area I am in now is a much smaller city, and so there are not as many thrift stores, and there aren't any big cities in the surrounding area like there were back where I used to live in Florida. So I have been very curious how the thrifting and antiquing is going to compare here. I've gone to a couple antique malls which have been incredible, and the prices at the antique malls here have been noticeably cheaper than the ones back in Florida. Also, I've noticed that the antiques here are a lot more my style. They're a lot more cottagey and woodsy, so I really love that. But since there are considerably less thrift stores, and the ones that I've been to haven't had a lot of items, I think that most of my sourcing is probably going to be done at estate sales and antique malls. So yeah, enough yapping, let's just get into the thrift haul. And also, I meant to mention this at the beginning, but at the end of the video, I am going to give a small tour of my house, just a little mini tour of what it's looking like so far, and I'll also show you how beautiful it is outside, so stay tuned for that. First, I am going to start with the thrift store items. There's only 2 of them. So the first thing that I got recently at the thrift store is this little mouse candle holder. This is super cute. It is brass, but it's covered in this kind of green patina that's definitely intentional. Here it is. So it's a little mouse, and then it has this candle holder spot for like a thicker candle, and the mouse is holding it. It's just so adorable. And the last thing I got from the thrift store is this brass Montana paperweight. This says Fritz brass on the back. It was made in Korea, and it has some felt on the bottom. It is literally just the state of Montana, and it has some sticker residue that I need to get off. I figured that someone who lives in Montana would think that this is cool. This would be great on a desk as a paperweight. I have a couple paperweights that I really love around the house, and you can find some very cute vintage ones, so I thought that this was cool. Next, I am going to show you a couple items I got from an estate sale. I went to this sale, and the house was enormous, and it was just filled with the most incredible antiques. The prices there were really high, so they had a lot of old spongeware and primitive pottery, and those pieces were ranging from like $70 to $200 a piece, so the prices were very high, but I did manage to find a couple of cute items in my price range. First is this adorable pair of needlepoint birds. This one with the blue berries on it, I'm actually going to keep for myself because I just started a miniature needlepoint collection on one of my walls, and this would just be so perfect up there, so this one I'm keeping. And then this one will go on my Etsy shop. It looks like it's like a red robin. I don't know my birds super well. I would love to get more into that, but it's just a red bird, and then it's on like a little pine tree with some yellow flowers. Next, I picked up this beautiful gold metal jewelry box. This is not brass, and it looks like it's painted, but it's very heavyweight. Small vintage metal boxes like this can go for a lot, and this one has some really beautiful ornate floral details on it and really cute little claw feet here, so I thought that this was lovely. Here it is on the front, the lid, and then when you open it up, it has some fabric inside, and then the bottom is all metal in there. And the details continue onto the side and onto the back. And then the last thing I got from that estate sale was this small little frog basket, a little wicker frog. It's in pretty good shape, and it looks like it's supposed to be used as a planter or like a catch-all basket for car keys. It has these marbles on the side for eyes. Here it is up close. It is super cute. So that is all for the thrifted and estate sale items, and now I'm going to show you some stuff that I picked up at a few antique malls yesterday. Starting off strong, I found this vintage clock. It is so beautiful, and it has this copper frame around the edge, and the brand is Wafer, W-A-F-E-R. It's by the Bingham Company, and it was made in Bristol, Connecticut in the United States. It has this long cord and the plug looks super ancient. There's actually like a bunch of hazardous looking wires sticking out of it, but it does still work, which is incredible. This is like a classic mid-century piece. When I did a Google Lens on this piece, I found this exact one that I had recently sold on Etsy for $125. Other than that one listing that I found, all of the other clocks by this same brand had a silver outer edge, not the copper outer edge, and those ones were selling for around $125 to $150. So because the pieces were going for so much and the copper makes this one especially rare, I thought that it was a great piece to pick up. This is what it looks like up close. It's very mid-century, very retro. I love the patina on this copper frame. And then this is the plug that I was talking about. It's clearly very old, and I don't know if you can see in there, but there's like a bunch of little wires sticking out. Next, I picked up this little Indian paper mache box with a beautiful blue interior and lovely blue flowers on the outside. I don't always pick up these paper mache style boxes when I see them, but I just really loved the color scheme on this one, so that's why I picked it up. And when you open it up, it has that beautiful bright blue felt inside. Next, I picked up this pair of candle sconces. These are just like the mouse I showed you. They're kind of that aged, purposefully aged green brass color, and these were made in India. They were $9 for the pair, which is a good example of what I'm talking about when I say that the antique mall prices are a lot cheaper here. They have some grapes at the top, and I just think these are super cute. Even though they were made in India, as was a lot of vintage brass, they kind of have a Tuscan Italian feel because of the grapes, and I just thought that they were super cute. Here they are up close, and I definitely plan to sell them as a pair. Next, this is kind of a weird pickup for me, but I got this handmade display of blue, are they robin eggs? Okay, yes, so these are blue robin eggs, but it's made out of fake sticks and fake leaves, obviously fake eggs. I'm gonna have to figure out if I'm allowed to sell this on Etsy because it's not vintage, it's definitely handmade though, but I don't know if something has to be handmade by me for me to be able to sell it, because typically on Etsy you can only resell items that are vintage, so I'm gonna have to look into that. But I just thought that this was cute and I was weirdly drawn to it. Here it is up close, and I thought it would just be cute sitting on a bookshelf or a dresser. Next up, I got this adorable vanity mirror. It is so beautiful, and the patina and the distressed metal look on it is very much my vibe. Especially when I'm at antique malls, I am always keeping an eye out for vanity mirrors. They sell very well for me, and I just personally love them. I've never seen a vanity mirror in person quite like this. It has this very pretty distressed metal base, and it's like a yellowy color. And then the top is circular. It has some kind of filigree style metal details here, and it's rusty, which I kind of like. It's just super charming and super cute. And the back also is a mirror, and I'm sure some people would actually prefer this old looking mirror to the shinier mirror on the other side. Next, I picked up this pair of adorable brass candle sconces. These are unlacquered brass, which I really love. I actually saw quite a few pieces, brass pieces, that were lacquered brass yesterday that were good prices, but I just don't really like the look of lacquered brass. I really like the patina on the old brass, and I like how it gets that aged look to it. This is the look of the sconce up close, and typically I would sell these individually, but lately I've been feeling like it's a crime to do that, so I'm going to start selling these types of things as a pair so that the pairs can stay together and don't get separated. These would be so beautiful on either side of a bed or a mantle or a bathroom mirror. I love design when it has those little symmetrical touches. So yeah, I am very excited for these to find a good home because they are truly beautiful. Next up, I got this beautiful piece of Mexican folk art. I had never found something like this before. I've never seen anything like this before, but I did a Google Lens, and these are referred to as milagros hands. It's a little wooden hand. It's painted black, and then it has all these beautiful silver, what I'm assuming is tin, feels like tin, but it has these little charms all over it. And then on the back, it has this spot where you can hang it up on the wall. I got this piece for, I think between $5 and $10, and they go for around $50. And I just really, really love this style of Mexican folk art. I love the use of like the little nails and the hammered tin, the texture. It's just really beautiful and unique. I have two more items left. I picked up this cute little brass vase. I love how tall and slender it is. And again, this is unlacquered brass, just like the sconces, and the patina on it is really beautiful. The last item I have to show you today is this adorable little leaf. It's perfect for fall. It's a little brass dish, and it also has these tiny acorns at the bottom. Here it is up close. There's the little acorns on the bottom, and it actually says Korea on the back. Well, that is everything I have to show you for the haul. My dog is having the zoomies growling in the background, so if you hear weird noises, that's why. I have been a lot more intentional with the items that I've been picking up for my shop, so I'd be curious to know what your favorite item was. And the video is not over yet. I'm going to show you around my house a little bit after I clean it up because it's a little bit messy. But yeah, stay tuned for that.
Good luck at your next stop. Thank God it wasn't there.
So here is how the living room is looking so far. I got this incredibly beautiful couch off of Facebook Marketplace, and it is hands down the most beautiful piece of furniture I have ever owned. And since we don't have a lot of storage in this house, it's significantly smaller than our last house. I have these two little trunks here that kind of serve as the coffee table and an ottoman, but they both have storage inside. I got this trunk from a local thrift store about a week ago, and I filled it up with all of our board games. And then this little trunk I got at the antique mall that I had my booth at, and I put some craft supplies and scrapbooking supplies in there. Over here I have this adorable side table that I got from an estate sale back in Florida several months ago. And then I have some cutie little wall decor pieces up. This horseshoe candle holder was gifted to me by my sister, and I absolutely love it. She had that little ribbon tied on it when she gave it to me, and I thought that that was just so cute. This little corner here is where I will be doing all the photography for my Etsy shop. And then up here is that small needlepoint collection I was mentioning earlier. So I have two pieces up there that I love. And the TV is not staying there. We're probably going to mount it in a few days. And then over here I have my best thrift find ever, which is my dog, and a little side table with a lamp. Here is our kitchen. I have a succulent little thing over here. My fiance and I went on a date and we picked out succulents from Lowe's or Home Depot and made this little succulent spread that was back in Florida a long time ago. We did that probably 6 months ago. They're looking really healthy, but I don't know how they're going to do up here considering we're going to get a lot less sun throughout the year. In this corner of our kitchen, I have my printer because we basically are in a studio now, so I don't have a super designated work area. So I made this little station for my printer to pack orders. I have my business cards and some random stuff, and then bubble wrap and packing paper down in that cabinet. It is looking pretty stinking cute in here, if you ask me. Here is our little entryway spot. I have this coat rack here. You can't really see the coat rack because it's covered in coats, but I thrifted this coat rack back home in Florida. Basically everything I'm showing you, you can just assume that it's thrifted. Pretty much everything I own is thrifted. All my clothes, all my stuff. We have some shoes down here as well as Robbie, who is our robot vacuum. And then lastly, for the inside is our bathroom. It is loosely ocean themed. So I have this painting here that was from my antique booth. It never sold, so I brought it with me. And then over here I have my little mermaid statue, which some of you have probably seen before if you've watched my videos. I love this thing, it's so pretty. Have all of my skincare and makeup, as well as this bone that I found on a school trip in St. Augustine when I was like 10, and I've just kept it forever. And then I have this really cute French provincial style dresser, I guess you could call it, that I stuck in the bathroom because any storage space we can possibly get is very helpful. This I got at the same time that I got our blue chest coffee table thing, and I got it for 30 bucks, which I thought was a pretty good price. It clearly needs cleaned up, so I need to like scrape that sticky residue off, and eventually I would love to repaint it. It's hard for me to back up in here to get a good shot of it, but here's another angle. And then I have my beautiful fern up there. Lastly, I will take you out on the deck and show you our gorgeous view out here. We have a direct view into the forest, and there's actually a little river down below as well. The fall colors are starting to show, and it is seriously just heaven on earth out here. It's so peaceful. It feels amazing. It's like low 70s, high 60s. Junebug loves it. She's out here all the time. You literally just walked down here to show you the river, and there's a deer. Oh my gosh. How cool is that? Here is our backyard.